Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Let's get right into talking about everything going on with the Indianapolis Colts and the Indiana football team. On this episode, we're going to talk about some of the studs and duds and the winners and losers from the game last week in Tennessee. And then we're going to look forward to the game coming up against Jacksonville and what the Colts are going to have to do to come away with a victory and also be atop the division when they leave that game. We're going to talk about all that and Indiana football and Indiana basketball on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Let's get right into it. But first, let's thank our friends at Reynolds Wrap for sponsoring this video. Reynolds Wrap is a great American company making great American aluminum foil that can be used for all sorts of things. I use this stuff for everything. Wrap ribs in it, put them in your freezer, put them in the oven, put them on the grill. Use Reynolds Wrap as a lid for things when you can't find that lid. Reynolds Wrap has so many uses. I dare you to find more uses for this product. See it, get it for yourself. It's Reynolds Wrap. Everybody has this stuff. Thank you to them for sponsoring the video. A great American company. All right, so let's get into talking about the Indianapolis Colts and some of the winners and losers from what happened last week, the win against the Tennessee Titans. And I'm going to say this first off, winner from the game last week, and Zach Moss as a player definitely was the player of the week. Zach Moss, just 164 yards on the ground. Zach Moss came out and played a stellar game for the Indianapolis Colts, running the ball up the middle, just tough running yards, and he really put his stamp on the game, that he was going to control the game. And you could tell he ran so hard because Jonathan Taylor got that big contract. And maybe that was part of it. But this guy, he has been an absolute beast for the Colts. So, big winner, Zach Moss. Big loser, obviously, from this game is Anthony Richardson. Now, the next person I'm going to talk about as a winner, I'll talk about this more, but Anthony Richardson has to learn to protect himself. I know Shane Steichen has taken a lot of heat from Colts fans for calling that run and a first down running play because it did not look good at all. He keeps the ball and immediately gets tracked down by a defensive tackle and a linebacker and just gets crunched by them. Anthony Richardson has to learn to go down in a way that's not going to get him injured. That may be a very, very difficult proposition. One thing when I look at a player like Anthony Richardson and what I think about him is that he is so athletic that there's been very few times in his life where he's been able to be tracked down and tackled by a person. Now you're playing in the NFL with a bunch of guys who are 30 years old and that are grown men, and when they get their hands on you, you're going to go down. That's all there is to it. Anthony Richardson has to figure out a way that he is going to be able to stay out on the field, whether it's just falling the right way or sliding or getting out of bounds. I know that play, he really didn't have a way to get out of bounds or get away from anybody, but he is out 4 to 6 weeks right now. The Colts are trying to decide whether to put him on IR or what to do with him exactly. But Anthony Richardson, he definitely has to figure out a way to keep himself out there on the field for the Indianapolis Colts. And I just read this article. It said, what is your panic level on Anthony Richardson and his injuries? Subscribe to the channel and comment down below. Tell me what you think about Anthony Richardson and all of the injuries that he's had so far. And what do you think about, what is your panic meter, I guess? Because this guy and this article on, I believe it was on A to Z Central or Stampede Blue, saying his panic meter was at a 3. I'm going to be honest, mine is at a 7. If he gets 1 or 2 more really serious injuries where he's going to be out for periods of time, for him, the Colts need him on the field to develop and also so that they can see if he is going to be the long-term player for the Colts or not. When he's out 4 to 6 weeks right here in the mid part of the season, and he's not going to come back till later, I mean, we're going to finish this year and not know exactly, not have a full season of watching him, and that's really what we wanted out of this season. I mean, I was really hoping he could stay out there the whole time, and even if, the Colts were terrible the whole time, they would be able to assess whether or not they wanted to draft another quarterback or not. Now they have 3 wins. They're 3-2, so most likely, they're not going to be in the top picks for quarterbacks this year if they win a few more games, but I just don't know. I would like Anthony Richardson, I would like him to stay healthy and stay on the field. Hopefully he can learn how to play that way. So far, from the things he said to different reporters and things, he's like, this is just how I play, so that's just how it is. And if he's going to continue to say those types of things and then continue to get injured, he will just talk his way right out of the NFL. This guy is an unbelievable talent. There's never been a player with the kind of statistics that he had in the combine, and there's never been an athletic freak in the way that Anthony Richardson has ever entered into the NFL. We'd like to see him out there, but so far he can't seem to stay out on the field, and that is his own fault. He really has to learn to fall and to protect himself when he's on the field. That's really all there is to it. The other winner, and what some people might say that he's a loser, and the guy I really want to talk about a little bit is Shane Steichen. This guy has proven himself to be a very magnificent play caller. The Colts are 3-2 right now, primarily because he has been so great with some of the calls that he has made when Gardner Minshew has been in the game. What you're going to get with Gardner Minshew last week and with him coming up against the Jaguars, he is going to just pinpoint accurately throw like 2 and 4 yard passes all the way down the field. Just pinpoint accurate short passes. That's what Gardner Minshew is going to bring to the table for you. It's very predictable how he's going to play, how he's going to perform. He doesn't take too many big chances or anything like that, although he did have a really nice pass to Downs in the game this past weekend against the Tennessee Titans, and Downs is coming on strong for the Colts. So yeah, Shane Steichen, I think all of us as Colts fans, we just have to thank our lucky stars that we got a really great coach right now who is a magnificent play caller. I guess that's all I can say about him. I love watching him call the game. He has some very clever plays around the goal line. That being said, I don't want to jinx him or anything like that. Not that I'm jinxing him, but hopefully he's a guy who continually gets better and better at calling plays, because we saw Frank Reich. He seemed like a really brilliant play caller at first, but the thing in the NFL, after you coach about 4 or 5 years, these teams gather so much data and analytics about the type of plays that you like to call in certain situations. Like they will just know 60% of the time when he's in third and this distance, this is the play that he calls. So you constantly, as a play caller, and the great ones like Andy Reid and the really great ones always do this, are just always coming up with new plays all the time so that they can't really pinpoint what you're going to do all the time. I think that was the big downfall of Frank Reich. I think he just over time, he kept doing the same thing and it became more and more predictable. You always have to be changing it up in the NFL because this is a business and you have 32 teams out there that every week only 16 teams can win, and every other team is analyzing everything about your play calls and everything like that. So we should just thank our lucky stars. Shane Steichen has been an absolute great play caller. I can't be any more satisfied with the things that he's done and changes he's made in the coaching. And he's really shored up the Colts that even with Gardner Minshew, we feel confident that we're going to go out there Sunday and be able to put a good team out on the field that's going to be competitive because Shane Steichen has brought that. And I have to say, too, Gardner Minshew, he has been he's really smart for following Shane Steichen to the Colts. I think he knew that Shane Steichen, and he is like a coach out there on the field because he did play, if you don't know, I mean, he was the backup quarterback at Philadelphia. He knows this playbook, and he knows the Shane Steichen system and Shane himself as well or better than anybody on the team. So that being said, Gardner Minshew, he knows more about the system and what Shane Steichen is trying to do than Anthony Richardson does, just because Anthony Richardson is so new to the NFL. So we are getting a more experienced player in Gardner Minshew. Now, for all the people out there that are commenting saying that, Gardner Minshew is better than Anthony Richardson, you're absolutely crazy. But Minshew does bring something to the table. Short, accurate passes. That's what you're going to get out of Minshew. And this week, the Colts are favored in several of the early betting odds against the Jaguars. And they're not favored in some other betting odds. So I don't want to sit there and tell you like they're favored in every piece of the betting odds. But Gardner Minshew gives the Colts a great chance to win this game. And they could be 4-2, which would be unbelievable. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not counting on them winning this game. The reason being, until the Colts offensive line can show me that they can dominate the Jacksonville Jaguars up front and open up some running lanes for Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, it's really hard to see the Colts winning this game. Now, last year, the Colts beat the Jaguars at home with Matt Ryan with a primarily short passing game that the Jaguars just really seemed to. They kept everybody back in deep coverage, and that's what you're going to get out of the Colts this week. You're going to have 2 and 3 step drops where Minshew is going to be getting rid of the ball in 2 seconds about every single play. That's what you need out of Minshew. He just needs to distribute the ball to the guys and get those short passing game going and then get some of the running game going. That's what the Colts are primarily going to do because Minshew's not going to push the ball down the field that much. But he gives the Colts a great chance to win this game. Not a better chance than Anthony Richardson does because Anthony Richardson is a great talent and needs to develop, and he needs to develop a way to learn how to protect himself as well. But we already talked about that. All right. So we talked a little bit about the Colts, the winners and losers. Shane Steichen and Zach Moss had a great week for the Colts. The only thing Shane Steichen, he's taking some heat for the play call with Anthony Richardson. But I would say to that, it's like that was a bad play call, but I just wouldn't put that all on Shane Steichen because he has been a pretty great play caller so far. Indiana Hoosiers playing against the Michigan Wolverines this weekend. And what we can expect out of this is the Indiana Hoosiers are going to get absolutely shellacked by them. The Indiana Hoosiers gave Tom Allen an extension on his contract, so they virtually, unless they want to pay this guy like $20 million, he's going to be there for the foreseeable future. I don't see them getting rid of Tom Allen. Their team is so stinky. Oh, my God. They're like the stinkiest garbage in the entire state. But I will be rooting for the Indiana Hoosiers on the football team this weekend against Michigan. Let's see what they can do. But all we have to look forward to is that in about 3 or 4 weeks, Indiana basketball team will start playing, and then we won't have to really think about the football team for at least another like 9 or 10 months or so. So the basketball team fires it up here starting soon. And Indiana against Michigan, I don't even want to know what to expect from this game. I'm not doing any research on it. I'm just going to watch this game and just know that Indiana is going to get completely shellacked by them. It could be closer than you really think because Michigan does not play like a high-flying style of offense, but I know they do have a really good quarterback this year, so I will see Michigan for the first time because I've not really watched many of their games because they've not really played anybody. These college teams that go out there and play like nobody teams forever, it's just really hard to even know how good they're going to be until they go up against somebody good. But Colts got a good game coming up this weekend, and we are hoping that Anthony Richardson can get back within a month, but it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks for him. And I don't have anything else for you today. Thank you so much for watching the video. Subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Until next time, stay classy out there, Colts and Hoosiers fans.